The opinions expressed are those of the show's host and not the staff or management of Port St. Lucie Broadcasters. Any reproduction without written consent of WSTU and WPSL is strictly prohibited. Now it's time for Quality of Life Radio, brought to you by WellMed. Here are your hosts, Gary Owen and Tom Bouvier.
Hello and good morning to all of our lovely friends listening on this fabulous, beautiful Florida Tuesday morning. And it's already April 6th, so we're past April Fool's Day. Lucky you that are listening, because I would have definitely played a April Fool's joke on you. Hello, I'm your host, Gary Owen.
And I'm your co-host, Tom Bouvier.
And together we're bringing you the Quality of Life Radio Show, which is proudly sponsored by our friends at WellMed and
Lott Insurance Services.
Yeah,
Lott Brothers
and Joey Lott. We're glad to have them as sponsors of our show. And by the way, we are streaming live on Facebook. So if you happen to have Facebook, you can follow us at the Quality of Life Radio Show, and you can watch us live in the studio. You can also watch us live on www.wstutv.com. We're here live in the studio. And then also, if you're driving in your car and you want to tune in to listen to us on WSTU 1450 AM and WPSL 1590 AM. So, Tom, we are here for a very specific reason, and it's not to eat chocolate.
It is not.
Drink
Unfortunately. Wine? Well, we're supposed to give that one away, but I don't know if they'll notice that one's not the one we give. But actually, Gary, we wake up very, very early every Tuesday morning to bring all of our listeners relevant content that they can actually use. That we are here also to support and showcase local business people, like our gentleman who's going to be introduced here in just a moment. And we also here to educate, to bring education and information to people about insurance planning so they could live a healthier life and greater quality of life.
So before we talk about the three things that we typically do on this show, it's probably 4 or 5 or 105. I don't know. I lost count, Tom. But I want to give a shout out this morning. I attended the Stewart Martin County Chamber of Commerce meeting, which I am a trustee of. And I told Candace that I would give her a shout out. She owns Skin Serenity and Spa, and soon she will be a guest on the show as well. She's in downtown Stewart. And also another friend of mine, Chuck Gary. He's an attorney extraordinaire here in Stewart. Takes care of accident cases. He bicycles around the country. I am astounded at his health. He's in better shape than I am. So God bless you, Chuck and Candace. Thanks for listening in. And to all of our clients and friends that are watching and listening in this morning, thank you and good morning. So the first part of the show, as Tom had mentioned, we're going to showcase a small business owner. And we're glad to have Greg Gardner with us with Wide Angle Photography. And then the second part of the show, we're going to share our knowledge and present information and insurance solutions and pitfalls to avoid, and just good old-fashioned straight talk that will enhance and improve your quality of life. And we're also going to share with you a couple of new stories around the world that's unique and fun. And then today, thanks to Mike Barbone, who's listening over there in Pasco County, Florida. Mike, good morning, and thank you for this idea. Mikey says that we should do a phrase of the day. So this is why I brought in a bottle of wine from One Hope Wine. And what we'll do is sometime during the show, I'm going to mention the phrase of the day. You will win a $25 bottle of wine from One Hope. And what we are doing is One Hope Wine donates to a charity of our choice. And so, therefore, we are going to be donating locally here in Stewart to the Pace Center for Girls. So by every Tuesday morning, you're going to have a chance to win a bottle of wine. Now, how do you get that bottle of wine? How do you get registered?
Well, you need to pay attention, keep pen in hand, ears wide open, don't touch that dial. And when Gary says, and our phrase of the day is, he's going to give it to you, write it down, call our office at 772-210-1020 or 772-210-1020 and let them know your name and the phrase of the day. And if it's accurate, we're going to put your name into a hat, right?
Yep. And don't forget the phone number.
The phone
We've
number.
got to have to call you
We
back.
need your phone number.
Or you can also email us at support@oweninsurancegroup.net. And the drawing will happen at 3 p.m. today. Every 3 p.m. after the show is when we'll do the drawing. So you have until 3 p.m. to either call or email us the phrase of the day. Again, remember, it's support@oweninsurancegroup.net. All right. So now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to all of you watching and listening this morning to my friend Greg Gardner with Wide Angle Photography. Greg, look at you all looking sharp and spiffy, man. Look at that tie. I mean, that looks like his shirt.
Love
almost.
it.
Carlos Santana, many voices, one message.
I
There we
love
go.
it. Love it. So what's your message this morning, Greg?
My message this morning is I hope everybody goes out and gets a shot and stays safe.
All right. Tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, your business, and what got you into photography.
I was born in Texas. I grew up in the Army, and I lived in 12 different places in 12 years before I went to school in Tampa. And I graduated with a journalism and a history degree. And I came over here. My first job was at the Vero Beach Press Journal. And then I also worked at the Fort Pierce News Tribune. And then I worked 3 years at the Jensen Beach Mirror. And I was also editor of the Stewart Mirror. And after that, it was 2 years in television news with WTVX. And I was a good friend and collaborator with Kurt Fonger.
Yes.
And I used to edit all his video and run the teleprompter. But that was my background. And I've been freelancing ever since 1988.
That sounds really exciting. So I know you do all types of photography, and you've got some really phenomenal photography and some photos out there. We'll talk about something you've done recently that landed you on the front page of the Stewart News. But before we do that, I also know, because I know I'm an aviator, and I know that you do aerial photography and so much. So let our audience know exactly what your services are.
Yes, I've been doing aerial photography. I do it all over Florida, but mostly on the Treasure Coast. I fly to Fort Pierce and Stewart as well. And I'm a no drone zone, but I'm working on that. I just bought a little baby drone, and I'm going to play with it until I can buy the bigger drone, because there is a need for that. But I want to caution people, before you hire somebody to do drone photography for you, make sure they can show you that 107 card from the FAA, because if they don't have that card, they're illegal. And if you hire them and something goes wrong, you're going to be on the hook for all the damages. There won't be any defense, because you should have known better than to hire somebody who was illegal. But we work at 1,000 feet. And the other thing that we can do, the drones have a great purpose for some of what they do. But they can't fly next to the airport without a great deal of coordination with the tower. And when it's busy, the tower's not going to help them out any more than they do us. But we talk to the tower before we go if we're going to be shooting something nearby. And they let us work it in, around the traffic that's there. So, but that's what I do.
So obviously we know that now that we're coming out of this COVID pandemic and people are pent up and wanting to get out and get married and have babies, tell us, do you do photo shots of babies, weddings?
Babies, cats, dogs, pets, bride, groom, family get-togethers,
Prize
family
trophies.
Reunions, whatever needs to be done. I'll do it. I'll do your headshots, which I've been doing a little bit of lately. Just about anything that can be shot with a camera, I'll give it a try for you.
What about videography? Do you do any videos?
I do produce video. I went to film school in Orlando, and I've produced probably a couple of dozen videos over the years, and at least a dozen TV commercials. And I can sit down and write your script, and we can shoot it and edit it and put it on the web or on the TV or wherever you want to do.
Let's do a movie.
Hey, who's going to be the star? Evan Nine?
Evan is definitely only if he wears his white suit that I saw him wearing on Easter Sunday
With bright orange
Beautiful.
sneakers.
No, it was white sneakers.
I like to see
Super
them
cool.
bright orange sneakers. That would be beautiful with white suits. Greg, what that was great advice about the 107 card. I hadn't really known what that was, so that's interesting you brought that out and everyone to be aware of that. What is your specialty? What is it that you love to do? specifically? I mean, I know you love photography, but specifically, what is it that you like to take shots of?
If I had my choice, I would be at the Olympics all the time shooting pictures. I've been to 11 Olympics, and that's my favorite thing.
Wow.
I also just finished 31 ballparks, and I went to every single ballpark. And then I just finished that, and then
Wow.
the World Series came to Washington, and I went to games 3, 4, and 5 of the World Series. So I'm working on a book with pictures from all these stadiums and action shots, as well as the statues that each individual park has that gives it its own character. And I'm working on that. And the title is Before the Last Pitch, 31 Ballparks in 39 Days, the Cathedrals of America's Pastime. And originally it was going to be to tell people how you can do this too inexpensively. It doesn't take a lot of money. You can do it over several seasons, and you can go and see all of the ballparks. Well, I've changed it now because it's going to be a little bit like a mad race to the finish line, because I had no idea that baseball would be changed perhaps forever when I was doing this. And I finished going to the parks, and then I went to the World Series, and then the COVID came, and baseball has not been the same since. And, you know, I love the game, and I think everyone else does too. And I hope that baseball will come back as we remember it and enjoyed it. But there's no comparison to 50,000 screaming fans in Wrigley Field, you know, when the Cubs are about 3 weeks away from the World Series. I mean, you can't compare that. And so I hope the game comes back as we know it. But I went to spring training, one game of the Mets this season, and I was so disappointed. I will never go back if that's how it's going to be. But anyway, we hope the game comes back.
That's very exciting. I know Evan announces at the ball game. So you had mentioned that you really can't replicate what you hear and what you see and what you feel there. And how do you take all that, all the senses, and put that into words in a book for people to get how you are feeling? That's got to be interesting and hard to be able to do that.
It is, but you just the instances, the things that happen to you. I was at the World Series in Miami. I've been to 6 World Series games, and I was in Miami, and this guy was gone. I was sitting right in front of this empty seat, and a foul ball came screaming. I was shooting pictures, so I didn't see it. It hit the seat right in front of me. It could have killed me, but it shot down, bounced around, and everything. And 30 seconds later, this man comes walking back with a tray full of food and a glove in his left hand. If he had been sitting in his chair with his wife and kid sitting next to him, if he'd been sitting in his chair, he would have caught that ball. You know, so by 30 seconds, I mean, it's things like that that you see and happen. And when I was in Texas, I saw a streaker run onto the field in Houston. And this was the season that the Houston Astros were on their way to the World Series. And I can't tell you if I remember them banging on the cans or not. I assume they were. But it was exciting because you could just tell they had the heart and the fire and that they were going to go the rest of the distance.
Yeah. Was that Tom? Wasn't you? Was that you, Tom, streaking on the ball field?
I thought we had an agreement, Gary. That
Well, come on, they saw you.
Well,
they saw you.
don't ask, don't tell.
Worldwide. Come on,
You're
man.
not supposed to ask me, and you weren't supposed to tell.
Those are his younger days. That's when he was buff. Buff, all right.
Now I'm a buffalo.
Oh my Lord.
From buff to buffalo.
That's funny.
The aging of America.
That's funny. So my gosh, we're already 20 minutes past to our first commercial break. When we come back, there's something special I want to ask him, and he's going to share with us that maybe many of you saw on the front page of the newspaper. Anyway, you are listening to the one and only world famous Gary and Tom Show, also known as
The Quality of Life radio show.
Yeah, baby. It's about your quality of life. Stay tuned, and we will be right back. And welcome back to the Quality of Life Radio Show. This is Gary Owen and Tom the Boom Bouvier, and with us, our guest is Greg Gardner with Wide Angle Photography. So I know Greg wants to talk a little bit more about the Olympics, but recently, I don't know, how long has it been now, Greg? About a year that you were on the front page with the Apollo 11 mission. Tell us a little bit about what got you there.
What got me where? On the front page of the paper?
On the front page, yeah.
Well, I saw something in the paper that they were interested in people's remembrances of the landing on the moon, and I had a couple of them, so I contacted the newspaper, and Lemur Stansel did a wonderful job, and I told him I had photos, and he said, please send them, and I brought him the photos, and they ended up doing a beautiful spread. And what happened was it was 1969. My father was flying in Vietnam, and we were all living in Pearl City, Hawaii. And there was about a dozen or so waiting wives, they were called, and they all had husbands in Vietnam and children and everything. And so we were this close-knit group of like one big family. And we found out that the astronauts were coming back from their splashdown in the Pacific, and they were going to be the next morning in Pearl Harbor. So we packed little lunches, and moms got us up out of bed. Nobody wanted to get up out of bed, but we got up and we came out there. And about an hour later, the ship came in, and about an hour after that, they hoisted down this trailer, and we were 50 feet away, and my mom's taking pictures, and they're waving. And well, there's a curtain, and the curtain opens, and then they wave. And there was probably, I don't know, a couple hundred people there, maybe more. I don't know. We were on the front. In fact, the pictures show us in front of the yellow tape, which, knowing us, that doesn't surprise. But they came out and they waved. And I remembered thinking, wow, 24 hours ago, they were up in space, walking around on the moon. But we were the first American civilians to see the astronauts after they came back to U.S. soil. So that was just a special thing to be lucky enough to be able to be there.
Absolutely.
When that happened.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. We've got 5 minutes left on this segment. Greg, tell us, I know you want to talk more maybe about the Olympics, I think.
I would, but I wanted to say one other thing as far as that story went with, I met Neil Armstrong years later, and the Grumman organization retirees used to meet up in Vero Beach once a year. And the first time they met, they brought Neil Armstrong in, and they asked me to come and photograph let's see, what was I allowed to photograph? Nothing, and no video. But I did take a picture of me, and there was a picture of me and him together, and Bob Watkins from Grumman was in the picture, and then the people from Disney got one picture. So those were the only 3 pictures. He did no autographs, but he got up there and he gave a wonderful speech, and he told the Grumman guys, he said, that lunar module you built, it looked like a turkey, but it flew like an eagle. And anyway, and so that was part of the story as well, including the photo that I had taken with him. And I told him the story about how we were there at Pearl Harbor and everything. And I found out later from Bob Watkins, he was talking about that and chuckling about that on the way back from after our lunch. So
that's pretty cool. Great experiences. That's fantastic. So, what else do you want to share with us? Obviously, what you have to share with us is your contact information, because if someone wants to call you and utilize your services, how do they reach you, Greg?
They can reach me at wideanglephotovideo.com. That's my website. It also has my phone number on it. My telephone number is 772-530-1412. And if you have any video production or photography needs, just give me a call and I'll be there for you.
All right. And we've got maybe 2-3 minutes left. So any final thoughts or words you want to share with us?
Well, I was just going to tell you a little something about each of the Olympics that I'd been to. The first one I went to was in '84 in LA, and I only went to 5 events, but one of them was track and field. And there was this whole giant empty section that was sitting there empty with no chairs. Now, all the photographers were down low looking at the finish line. And I asked the usher, I was with another guy I had met, and I said, hey, can we go sit down there? And he said, yes. And so we're sitting in this section with nobody else there, and we're just above the photographers. And Carl Lewis, who of course was the star of the '84 Olympics, he comes barreling in, and I have this picture of him crossing the finish line ahead of everybody else. His chest is up, he's slowing down, and everyone else is like crying in pain, trying to keep up with him. But to me, that summed up the Olympics, because that was the year the Russians weren't there, and we won all the medals. So that was the first one in '84. '88, the Jamaican bobsled team came into their own, and we were there, and we saw that, and that was pretty exciting to be there. That was in Calgary. '92, I went to Lillehammer, and I stayed in Oslo and took a 3-hour train ride every day for 10 days to go to the Olympics. But I did go to the bobsled, and I saw the U.S. team lose to the Jamaicans by 1/100th of a second. So all the joking was over at that point. Everybody thought it was pretty funny until that happened. Barcelona, I got a ticket. I don't even know what the deal was, but I bought a ticket from somebody. I got in, and I saw gold medals for the first time. I'd never seen an actual gold medal, so that was kind of interesting. In Atlanta, I was at the closing ceremonies, and I learned something then. I bought a ticket for $400 for the closing ceremony, and when I went down there to go, there were people selling them on the street for about $50. So but you don't know. How do you know you're going to show up and you're going to get a ticket when you can go and buy one? Often that's the best thing. But most of the time, I went to China to the Olympics. I had no tickets. They were sold out. And every event I went to, I bought a ticket and got in. You just had to be really careful. The same thing in London. Everything was sold out. And I got a ticket to everything I went to. Although the first day we were there, we were at the equestrian event. And these bobbies came over to us and said, you're not allowed to buy tickets. And I said, I know, we're trying to find one and whatever. So my buddy finds a ticket. I get a ticket. We go in and we go through the security. The Royal Marines are doing the security, and we go through the security. We're inside, and I see our 2 cop friends again. I said, uh-oh. And they came over and they said, well, how did you get your ticket? And they look at my buddy, and he doesn't say anything. He just doesn't say a word.
No peak English.
Yeah, he just didn't say anything. And so they looked at me, and I said, well, I was looking for a ticket for him. I had a ticket when I got here. And so they looked at me and they said, well, we just wanted you to know that we didn't want you to think that you could pull a fast one on us. And I said, oh, no, sir. No, that's fine. And I looked down at his name tag, and it was all I could do to burst out laughing. Cleverly was his last name.
Touche.
Cleverly.
Anyway,
that was clever.
One last story. I when I go to the Olympics, in the Winter Olympics, I love the dangerous sports, the downhill skiing, the just something where you can really get hurt. And my favorite is the skeleton. And they started that back up in 2002. And Mitt Romney was the head of the Olympics, and he told this guy, look, if you can go over to Europe and get them on board, we'll bring the skeleton back. So skeleton came back after 50 years, and it's here to stay. 75 miles an hour, downhill head first on the bobsled track. But in Vancouver, I discovered ice dancing, because normally I don't like those kinds of things. But ice dancing is like sex on skates.
Did you try? Did you do it?
No, I just took pictures of it.
No, I'm not talking about ice dancing.
No, I did not.
Okay, all right.
No, I didn't want to end up with broken legs and arms. So.
All right, that's fantastic stuff. We love it. So we talked to you earlier about the phrase of the day. It's not yet. It will probably happen after we talk about the 2 different stories that we want to share with you around the world. And Boov is going to share one with us, and so is Mr. Evan 9. Who's going to go first? Who wants to share the first story? Tom?
Okay, Evan, if I may, please. So in Tennessee, God knows anything can happen in Tennessee, especially up in the mountains.
Where I was a couple or about 2 months ago.
I think the bear must have got a hold of some moonshine, because a Tennessee amusement park shared a video of an unusual visit by a bear who actually took a stroll across the attraction's treetop suspension bridge. So imagine you're in the woods and there's a suspension bridge, and all of a sudden a big bear is walking across it. So this is a theme park, Anakista theme park in Gatlinburg, said the bear was spotted on the treetop skywalk by Barrett Ogle, a manager of the park. He caught it all on video of the bear emerging through the fog on a rainy day while walking across one of the Treetop Skyway suspension bridges. So officials said the park is located in the Great Smoky Mountains, so bear sightings are common, but it's very unusual to have a bear walking across the suspension bridge. So could you imagine your family say, oh, let's go out on this beautiful, mystical, foggy day, and all of a sudden through the fog, you see this bear come walking toward you. So,
and that was in downtown Gatlinburg. So we passed that by when we were there, and been on the suspension bridge ourselves. So very interesting.
So go to Tennessee and get great adventures.
All right, the second story, Evan. What's going on?
Oh, this is pretty interesting. If you're into video games, a Texas-based auction house announced a sealed copy of Super Mario Brothers for the Nintendo Entertainment System sold for $660,000.
One little game.
One little itty bitty game. The highest price ever fetched for a video game. Heritage Auctions, based in Dallas, Texas, said the copy of Super Mario Brothers that was sold as part of the comics and comic art auction during the weekend was part of a short run that was produced in 1986 before Nintendo switched from shrink-wrapped packaging to a sticker seal. Now, since the production window for this copy and others like it was so short, finding another copy from the same production run in similar condition would be akin to looking for a single drop of water in the ocean. Now, never say never, Gary. Okay, never say never, but there's a good chance
there's a movie
it can't be done, said the video game director at Heritage Auctions. The video game has been purchased as a Christmas gift in '86, but it ended up spending 35 years untouched in a desk drawer. Untouched.
Amazing.
It stayed in the bottom of the desk the whole entire time since the day he bought it, said the seller, who requested to be anonymous. I never thought anything about it. The game sold for the final price, $660,000, which Heritage said is the largest amount ever paid for a video game. Wow. That's
1986. That's when I moved to Florida.
I remember playing that game.
I remember playing that game as well, man. It's amazing. I guess now I kind of kick myself in the butt for throwing away some of the boxes of other stuff that I've had.
Yeah.
Who knows what that might have been worth a few more years down the road. But interesting what's out there, the money that's being
and who would
spent.
buy that for 600-something thousand?
Mr. Anonymous,
I guess.
Yeah.
Didn't want his wife to know. You what?
Mr. Anonymous.
No dinner for you tonight, honey.
You number 10. All right. So also I wanted to I tell you what, let's go ahead and do the phrase of the day.
Phrase of the day
today. All right. For those of you that are watching, for those of you that are listening, are you ready?
Pen in hand.
To have your One Hope wine, where proceeds of every time we purchase a One Hope wine, it's donated to a local charity here on the Treasure Coast, which happens to be the Pace Center for Girls. We are giving away the bottle of wine today. The phrase of the day is, I love One Hope. 4 simple little words. I love One Hope. All you've got to do is call 772-210-1020. Let the folks there know the phrase of the day. Give them your name and your phone number. Or you can also email that to support@oweninsurancegroup.net. And you'll get your own phenomenal $25 bottle of wine from One Hope with a beautiful package and his bow on the front of it. Beautiful. Oh, you want me to lift it up?
Yeah, you got to show the goods.
Well, but what happens to the people that are listening? Should I drink out of it so they can see?
No.
Describe it.
It's a One Hope Rosé from California. So if you are into rosés, you might want to pick up that phone and give them a call to be added into the hat with your name. And then also at 3:00 today, we will be making the call and giving away your bottle of wine. So good luck to all of you that are participating. Okay, so that was kind of fun. I like the drum roll, Evan.
Thank you.
We'll have to just keep
I
incorporating.
pulled that out of my hat.
You did. I love that hat too.
Thank you.
The black-
always
black
representing
hat.
the blue line.
Amen. All right. So, real quick too. I think it's important that you know. Did you know? You know? Did you know?
I don't know.
I don't know either. So, this is amazing stuff here, and I've heard this for years and years. But people with severe gum disease may be twice as likely to have increased blood pressure and have a stroke. So, it's important that you brush your teeth and every day, floss, and go to your dentist twice a year at least. And this is why it's important to have the dental insurance plans, which, Tom, where can people that are listening and watching, where can they get a darn good deal on a dental plan?
Absolutely. We have a variety of different options and plans. Call Owen Insurance Group at 772-210-1020. Go to the website, oweninsurancegroup.net, and there's some information there about dental plans for individuals, families, or even groups.
Absolutely. And another story here, dentists report increased chipped, cracked teeth amid the pandemic stress. So not sure how, but anyway, they're saying that 7 out of 10 dentists say that they had seen or are seeing an increase in number of patients with tooth damage stemming from stress-related conditions.
What, do they just bite too hard?
Not sure if they're maybe they're cracking on each other's mouth. I don't quite get what that's all about. Another good thing about the health is, did you know, I think most people know this, but did you know that laughing is good for the heart and can increase blood flow by 20%? I think Greg said it earlier about sex. I think sex could probably increase blood flow by 100%. He's smiling. He loves that one.
Well, laughter can also make other things flow too. I've heard people pee themselves.
Yes,
from laughing too much.
that's correct.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen before. The U.S. spends almost 3 times more on healthcare than any other country in the world, but ranks last in life expectancy among the 12 wealthiest industrialized countries. Remember the AAA. Do you know what AAA is? Almonds, avocados, and arugula. Almonds, avocados, and arugula can boost. Greg's going to like this one. He's going to go to the Publix as soon as we leave here. And boost your sex drive and improve fertility. Look, he's ready to get down.
I don't need those things, but thanks, Gary.
Right. I'm looking out for you, buddy.
That's a confident man.
And then 2 more. Tea can lower risks of heart attack, certain cancers, type 2 diabetes, and Parkinson's disease. Just make sure your tea isn't too sweet. And then finally, extra virgin olive oil is the healthiest fat on the planet. So there you go. There's our segment of Did You Know? And then, Tom, kind of want to share what happened with someone came in our office last week, wasn't it? Last week. And had an exigent circumstance, kind of. So what came out of that?
Yeah, what was very interesting, and we say it on our show all the time, that when people call our office, come visit us, or receive consultation and recommendations and about their health insurance, we always say it's a no cost or no obligation. But many people, of course, they think everything has a cost, and so we had an individual who continued to visit a facility right near us, and they kept seeing our office. They knew they needed health insurance. They knew they needed some answers about their Medicare, but they kept saying, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I know if I go in there, it's going to cost me a lot to sit down and talk to someone. So lo and behold, you can imagine she finally had the courage to come in, because she was kind of at the end of the rope here. She couldn't let that fear stop her. She came in, and she kind of nervous. And as I began to talk to her and just doing our thing, needs dialogue, explaining how the process works, she was like, listen, I got to know something. How much is this going to cost me? And when I told her a big fat zero, first of all, I joked around with her. I said, make sure you're seated in the chair, and I'm going to lock that door so you don't run out. So brace yourself. And I told her, listen, it's a no cost or obligation. So that's our services, our consultation, recommendations for insurance planning. would not cost you a thing. If you do business with us, which we hope you will, we do get compensated from the insurance carriers.
Maybe we should change it, Tom, since everyone thinks that we charge for our services. Maybe we should.
Maybe we should.
Dollar. Start charging $1. How much you charge? $1.
Right.
I don't know. It might be worth thinking about. Before we move on, we've got our second commercial that I just blew right by it. Sorry, Evan. So we'll take our second and last commercial of our show, and stay tuned. You are listening to the Quality of Life Radio Show with Gary Owen and Thomas the Bouvier, sponsored by
Lot Insurance Services of Fort Pierce
and Wellman,
our primary care providers of the Treasure Coast.
We appreciate them both, and stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Quality of Life Radio Show. We have 14 minutes left of our phenomenal show. And we just had a caller who asked about, and thank you, sir, for calling the studio, asked about homeowners insurance and automobile insurance. We do not handle anything related to objects, only people's lives and their quality of life and health. So the Lott Brothers, who are sponsors of our show, and Tom, how do they get a hold of the gentleman that called? Needs some help. So how do they get a hold of Frankie and Joe?
Yes, thank you. So go and call Lott Insurance Services at 772-468-1009. That's 468-1009. Their able and capable staff will be able to assist you with all your property and casualty needs.
Yep. And also we were talking about health insurance, and Greg has ACA and how important it is. It saved his life, he said a few times, having ACA. And there's a lot of people out there today, Tom, still that have decided to go without health insurance. Why, after April 1st, would that be a very, very foolish decision to continue with?
Well, the current administration passed the ARPA Act. And so what that in effect has done, starting April 1st, now actually through August 15th, anyone without insurance would be able to qualify to get insurance. But more importantly, on the premium is the subsidies have been adjusted. So therefore, if you maybe did not qualify for a subsidy for the insurance, meaning a reduction in the monthly premium, or if you have a fairly good rate, but you could actually revisit it and even change plans, and upgrade your plan and pay the same, or upgrade your plan and actually even pay less, or find out how to readjust those pricings.
To your point, Tom, I mean, we recently wrote a policy for Christina here in Stewart, and she came back to us after she heard us talking about that on the radio show, and we saved her an additional 50%. Her premiums dropped. She was happy with what she had anyway with her family, but now her premiums dropped another 50%. So there is no reason why you shouldn't be giving us a call to provide you a free quote. Now, if you want us to charge you for it, we can certainly charge you for it. We don't have to charge you for it, but come on, people, you've got
72-210-102.
We're gonna come back to some of the stuff here in a second on health insurance and Medicare possibly and so forth. But I want to share with you a quick story that was in the News and Observer in Raleigh, North Carolina. An insurance advisor, stole from an elderly client to fund BMW, his Rolex watches, and a Bahamas vacation. So a federal jury has convicted a Raleigh financial advisor of fraud after he stole more than $1 million from an elderly client in Raleigh, North Carolina, and he bought himself a new BMW, Rolex watches, Bahamas vacations, child support payments, and guns. Farrow said that Furman Alexander Ford also used the 72-year-old's client's money to pay many other items. Ford, who is 51, worked as an advisor for New York Life between 2012 and 2015. His major client, identified as EJ, had inherited property worth more than $1.3 million, which Ford helped to sell and use the money to set up a charitable annuity. This annuity was to pay his client $6 G's a month, and as a part of his duties, Ford was to draft letters asking for withdrawals and blah, 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 blah. He admitted to using his signature to withdraw funds. Bad boy. And he now faces a maximum penalty of 444 months in jail.
Let's give it to him.
How
Give it to him.
How many?
Absolutely.
He'll be. Don't worry, they're going to be giving it to him in jail. But that's 444 months is 37 years. I mean, good. So
he can start a new career at what?
There's no career for him. He's 51.
70. Oh, yeah.
So he'll be 88.
89.
89. So listen, integrity and trust are characteristics that you have to ensure that your financial advisor, your insurance advisor has. And one thing that I can tell you that we are very proud of is that we are members. We were vetted. We went through the vetting process with the Washington, D.C. firm called National Association for Senior Advocates. And we became members. And I strongly recommend, and Tom and I say this on the show all the time, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to check on the background of the agent or the advisor that you're working with. These are very important things. Ask them how long they've been in the industry. Ask them what professional affiliations do they have within the industry? What designations and additional education do they have? These are very important things. Find out, go on the Department of Insurance website and find out if they have any claims made against them. So there are so many things that you can do to ensure that you're working with the right advisor. Or you could forego all that and call Owen Insurance Group, since we have been here for 35 years. We are a pillar in the community. And listen, nothing in the world is more important to us than our character, our integrity, and doing what's right 100% of the time.
Absolutely, Gary, because integrity is what the foundation of trust. And if you can't trust somebody, how can you follow their advice? So we practice what's called fiduciary responsibility. We deal with people in a fiduciary and that's just a fancy word for saying we're going to advise and recommend products and services that are best for you, not because we want to pick and choose which one might lie in our pocket a little bit more. A fiduciary responsibility puts you first, and that's where integrity it fits in.
And I can't tell you the number of times that our staff, I mean, both Tom and I and our entire staff will sit down with somebody. And listen, I think it's important that we have a holistic approach to the planning process. And if we determine that you have the best solution or the best policy that fits your specific needs, we're going to tell you. We're going to walk away from doing business with you because as Tom said, it's not about us. It's not about lining our pockets. It's about what's doing the right thing for our clients every single day, 100% of the time. And I can guarantee you that is how we roll, and that is what we do. So keep that in mind when you're looking for an insurance advisor. If you purchased an insurance policy from an agent 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 10 years ago, and you haven't heard from that person, what should they do, Tom?
Give us a call, 772-210-1020, and we'll be there for you. We have a brick and mortar office right behind Key West Diner, just north of the Roosevelt Bridge in Stuart, Florida. You can stop in and see us. You know where we live. I mean, that's where our offices are at. You can come in and see us. We're not just some strange voice on the phone from out in Iowa or somewhere.
That's right. And that's another point too, is if you go to the naosa.org website, they will tell you specifically right there on their website, especially for those of you that are on Medicare, or maybe getting to the Medicare age and you're trying to find out what your solutions and options are, they'll tell you right on there. They have a picture. They have a segment that talks about call centers and specific football Hall of Famers trying to get you to induce you to call, and they recommend that you do not do that. You should always call a local insurance advisor that's in your backyard or that's in your state that you live in, who specializes in what they do. The call centers are there for one reason, Tom. And what is that one reason they are there for?
Just to get you to enroll in their plans, quite honestly, whether it's the right plan or not. And those call centers, because I've affiliated with them in the past, I understand those agents are captive, meaning they can only sell one product, one company's product. So as an independent, another thing to look for is make sure they're independent licensed broker, meaning they're captive or they're able to represent and show all the different plans and companies out there.
So I know that there's a lot of people griping about those commercials that we have seen nonstop. They were endless. I will tell you, though, that they are now under scrutiny by CMS. So I know that they are facing some fines, most likely. And but you just cannot you cannot deceive people, speak mistruths. And again, I mean, there are so many options. I don't care if you're looking at Medicare, if you're looking at health insurance premiums for individual, or if you have a group, if you're an employer and you need health insurance for your group, give us a call. We'll listen. I think I would rather walk away from a client than not be transparent with that client. Why? I've been here for 35 years, and now I'm going to all of a sudden do something that's not right, just to get an extra buck. No, I'm about the
not
people.
Worth it.
No, it's absolutely not worth it. So, again, it's a free consultation. Whether you're, in fact, we're working with a doctors group now with 60 some employees. We're quoting them for their group health insurance, and maybe it makes sense and to do something different. So again, we will walk with you. We will guide you. We'll take you by the hand. We'll walk those pathways together that are very convoluted and confusing. Insurance is very confusing, and we will help you walk through it, and we'll show you your options so you can make the right choice that's best suited for you. That's
Absolutely.
it. Period. End of story. And it's very. And then at the end of the day, if you don't like us, you don't trust us, we know that you're not going to do business with us.
That's right. But we will make insurance planning simple so that you can enjoy the stress-free life that you deserve. That's our motto: simplifying insurance planning, making it clear and very clear to you so that you can enjoy a stress-free life and not stress out over your insurance, your health insurance.
And if you go to our website, www.owen, not Owens, Owen, OWEN, insurancegroup.net. Go to the website, check us out. You will see the logo of the National Association
Senior
of Senior Advocates. You'll see the logo there on my website on the main landing page. Click on that page, and then that will redirect you to our member site on their NAOSA website. So you can check out, there's a lot of great, valuable information that you need to know. Check it out. Do yourself a favor and do that. And Tom, in our last 2 minutes, anything that you want to add?
Gary, just those people who have insurance or do not have insurance and you're under 65, give us a call. Let us give you a quote because, again, subsidies and have been readjusted starting April 1st. So we'd love to hear from you.
And then Greg Gardner, our guest on today's show. Greg, share your phone number one more time for our audience, please.
772-530-1412.
So if you need a photographer or a videographer, give Greg a call, and he'll be there to help you and take good care of you. And Greg's been in this community a long time. He's also part of the Chambers of Commerce as well. Greg, it was great to have you this morning. We appreciate it. And then finally, remember the phrase of the day. If you missed it, Tom, what was the phrase of the day?
I love One Hope.
I love One Hope. So give our office a call. Give them that phrase of the day so you can be in the drawing. All right, next week, our special guest on our show is going to be Chuck Smith with Alpha Zeta Enterprises. And Tom, Chuck is a great guy. And Tom and I will continue providing important insurance planning solutions. So thank you for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Please share us with your friends, your family, your neighbors. And remember, Treasure Coast, stay safe, keep healthy, be happy, and enjoy
your quality of life.
Woo! Take care.